The first Wednesday of June is National Running Day, but if you're looking to run or already a runner, there are some things you need to know to help you get started on the right foot. And joining us today is Tom Bratcher from OrthoArizona to give us tips on running the right way. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
So I like the name, Bratcher.
There you go.
So it sounds very fast.
I'm not as fast as I used to be.
I like it. Okay, you know what? People are getting out more. I know we have our warm weather. People are still running and stuff. But I feel some people are running the wrong way, even me, because I just think I throw on my shoes, get up, walk out the door, and I'm ready to go for that, mile, 2 mile run or walk. But that's not the smartest thing to do, am I right?
Well, it just depends on where you're at in your running career, right? So if you're just beginning, going out and running 2-3 miles out of the gate and you haven't run in 5 years, probably not the best idea. So we usually recommend that someone would do like a walk run for maybe 10 minutes and then each week increase that by about 10% or so to the point where they're running the whole 10 minutes. Then they slowly increase that by about 10 minutes, or by about 10% per week from there.
All right, let's talk about the proper running way, because I think that's also a good tip too, especially when it comes to shoes and your body. I think everyone's different, right?
Yep. So if you think historically, we didn't have shoes when we were first evolving. So when you think back, actually running barefoot in some grass would be the smartest way to start for short periods of time, because that'll teach your body naturally how to run the proper way. But then once you get into shoes, and obviously you need some good running shoes to get on the pavement so you don't burn your feet. Once you get into those, you really need to get with an expert, either a physical therapist or a running shoe fitter at a local running store to fit you into the right shoe. There's shoes all the way from cushioned for people with high arches, all the way to stability shoes for people that have flat feet. Nike, Under Armour, it doesn't matter what type of shoe you have. They all have every shoe in the spectrum. But if you get the right shoe for your foot, regardless of brand, then you'll be set up in the right way.
I like it. All right, let's talk about our joints, because that's, again, what you see all the time when it comes to runners, where they run wrong or they've done something wrong. So how do we protect our joints when we're out there?
Well, again, building up slowly but surely would be number one. Number two is, we do like to have people do a flexibility program to make sure that their muscles, people sit in their office all day and then they get out of work and they go for a run. Well, everything is tight from sitting all day. They get up and they try to run. It's just going to put all kinds of stress on them. So doing some stretching before they go out is a good idea. And then, also doing some strengthening program to stabilize their body when they land on every step.
Yeah, let's talk about resting, because I think that's what a lot of people think, well, if I run, even though I'm hurt, it's going to help me better because I'm working on the muscle and stuff. That's not the smartest idea, right?
Well, yeah, of course. And you really, the difference between injury and pain, is it pain? Like I tell my kids when they're in sports, are you hurt or are you injured, right? Does it hurt or are you injured? So, if you have muscle soreness, running through muscle soreness because you're just beginning a program or you're slowly ramping up your program, that might be okay. But when you start getting joint pain or the end of the muscles, which are called your tendons, if you start getting tendinitis or something like that, that's when we need to back off and let things calm down before we keep going.
Yes, Kelly. Anyways, let's do some stretching things. So that's our EP. She's a big runner and stuff like that. All right, show me a couple stretching things really quick here, because one, I was very interesting before we came on. I was like, all right, what are we going to do? You're like, well, let's get you on legs up on a stool or on a chair instead of on the ground. And why is that?
Well, with the stretch that I'm going to show you, if you start out with your foot elevated, it's not as hard. You don't have to use as much muscle to do it. So a beginner can do it a little easier. And then as you slowly take yourself down to the ground, the main thing with these stretches is you want to go through as much range of motion as you can. Like I said earlier, when you're sitting, you get stiff. So we're trying to increase that mobility. Well, when you're increasing your mobility, you want to be able to go through the full range. If you go too low and you can't go through the full range, you're not really doing as much good.
All right, let's give it a try. So I know we have stools here instead of the chairs. So what do I want to do?
So just hold the stool for a second for me, and I'll show you. What I would have them do is almost like they're taking a running stride. They would want to step onto a box or a chair or anything they can, and they just want to take their body through the full range of motion and come back up. And then as they get better, obviously, then they can take themselves down to the floor and do the same stretch. The reason I like this stretch is it hits not only this hip flexor, It hits the hamstrings, it hits the calves, it hits every muscle in the lower body. So it kind of opens you up to get started for your run.
Got it. Okay. Well, hold the chair. I'm going to give this a try as we wrap this up. Where can people find more about the tips on running and of course, what you guys can do to help those who are needing a little ortho?
Yeah, so OrthoArizona.org. If you go to the physical therapy section, we actually have a performance section also where we have coaches that help teach people how to run, mechanics, and help design programs to get them back to running. But if they do have any of those pains, it would be to see one of our docs or one of our therapists.
Yeah, and I like how you're smiling because you see the pain I'm in kind of right there trying to get down. All right. Thank you very much.
No worries.
All right, want more information, you can head over to the CW7AZ.com. Woohoo, how's it?